A warm greetings to all the learners. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss Kamala Das' famous poetry, Punishment in Kindergarten. Hope all of us could relate our childhood memories with this poetry. In this poetry, Kamala Das narrates her childhood experience that was quite painful for her. Okay, we'll see something about Kamala Das first. Kamala Das is an Indian poet and author from Kerala. She was also a widely read columnist and wrote on diverse topics including women's issue, child care, politics, and she has published a number of books of poems and an autobiography. In many of her poems, Kamala Das recalls experiences from her childhood. She is very devoted to the home and the surroundings which she grew up in. In this particular poetry, Kamala Das remembers a particular incident which caused her not joy but pain. But in later days, in her adulthood, she can look back on that day of punishment, detaching herself from the pain. She is not part of it anymore. You could see the maturity when she is describing the time spent in the kindergarten. She used a past tense in the poetry. But when the poet is speaking about herself as an adult, she uses the present tense. This is the one unique technique she has followed throughout this poetry. You can you can divide the poetry in three parts. In the first part, the poet discusses how her teacher scolded her. In second part, she memorizes her schoolmates laughing her, making her weep, that painful incident. And in the final part, she says that being an adult, there is no need for her to memorize this experience. But as I said, it is an autobiographical poem. We can divide in three topics for a clear understanding. The first stanza, you can name it as Encounter with Her Teacher. And second stanza, Laughing of Students. And third stanza, Adulthood and Peace. Let us move on to the poetry now. In the poem, A Punishment in Kindergarten, Kamala Das memorizes a childhood experience. The poet begins with the line, Today the world is a little more my own. That makes it clear that she is going to talk about a past event that was not pleasant for her. Next, she begins by narrating the day in her childhood, that is in her kindergarten, when she went to a picnic along with other students. The poet uses ample of symbols like blue frogged women for her teacher, throwing words at me, pots and pans, to make us feel the intensity of teacher's word. Okay, so what is the particular incident was? Let us see. While other students were merrymaking, they were full of fun, they are very happy and playing together. But this peculiar child, Kamala Das, was sitting alone. That was not liked by her blue frog teacher, and she scolded her by calling a word a peculiar child. Then, in the first part of the poet narrates the day which was quite pleasant, but this particular word, a peculiar child, this particular word ruined the entire day of Kamala Das. The second part, out of the incident, out of that word, she was hurt. Kamala Das became hurt and she started to weep. So, after hearing this, the poet says when the teacher scolded her, other students who were sipping sugarcane started laughing at her. So, when teacher scolds a particular student, her friends started to laugh, isn't it? That the same happened here, and Kamala Das started to weep. She started to cry. And the final stanza, the poet says that now that she is grown up, the memory of that event has faded away because there is nothing in her childhood to cherish and desire for. She has now found adult peace, which means a sense of maturity, of taking things in a lighter way. The memory has not faded away, but quite clear in her mind. She remembers very well things on that day, but now she had the mental ability to come up, to overcome all the struggles, to overcome all the pains. So, this is the poetry is about. The poetry is very short, so it clearly shows the poet has survived that pain and reached maturity, transcending memory. The significance of the poem does not lie in punishment, but in sense of hurt inflicted on the child by the harsh words of his teacher, and the children's laughter that only aggravated it. The adult piece, the poet, because of healing a touch of time. It is the impact of the sadly moving flux of life that brings about spiritual tranquility in the poet. Hope you enjoyed the poetry. So, one thing you have to keep in your mind that in this particular poetry, the poet recalls a particular incident of the past, and later we could sense the voice of an adult, but the heart hurt the child felt is recreated. Thank you. We'll see you in the next class.